Hey there, internets. So this one's going to be kind of disturbing and something that to definitely share. Like it. Please comment to fuel the algorithm. And don't just simply throw it up on a social media platform. Direct message this one. Send it out to other people because I would not bet on this kind of stuff being easily viewed or not suppressed. Because, conservatives, I've said for years, that we're being suppressed. We're being selectively fact-checked, sometimes falsely fact-checked. I know that's happened. I'm going to get to that. But it came out yesterday. I was actually reading the article when my wife gets a screenshot to let her know that Tim Pool had gone on earlier way early compared to normal, because he wanted to get it out, that the Intercept, a liberal publication and media bias fact check, rates them at 87% for accuracy, or as mostly factual. NewsGuard rates them as 87.5% accuracy, and they are a liberal publication. So if you're a liberal Democrat, a liberal source is talking about this. This isn't Fox News. In fact, I haven't even gone to see if Fox News has even touched on it. Newsmax didn't even touch on it until today. But I wanted to get this recorded. It's getting close to midnight. I'm going to try and keep it really to the point. If I can get it up, and if I can't delay actually posting until tomorrow, if I have to do for the links, I will put the links in as soon as I get home tomorrow. But open it up. If the links are in the description below, and they will be by this time tomorrow, easily, open the links first so you can kind of follow along and read this. There's 4 links. One is the Intercept article. There's another article from the Federalist, kind of opining upon it a little bit. And then there's 2 links directly to some of these leaked documents. And the background to these documents is they're leaked, but they're kind of not. The Missouri Attorney General, who's running for the U.S. Senate, he was suing big tech for censoring certain views. In the process, documents were leaked that the Department of Homeland Security, 2018 law intended for cyber hacking, apparently, and I have not had the opportunity for the law, mission creeped its way in to trying to suppress news that the government didn't like within the United States, not just foreign actors trying to mess with our financial institutions or our other internet infrastructure, like where they had issues with gas transmission and supply chains last year. And so in the process, they created a organization called, if I can find it, it's the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency. And they have a which is SISA, and there's a misinformation and disinformation subcommittee, and they were still meeting into 2022. Apparently they were doing dry runs of suppressing stuff in 2020, and trying to suppress views they didn't like. And so definitely direct messages to people. Don't just hope it goes through the algorithm, because in the last couple of months I had some videos that had a really good reach for the size of my tiny channel. Right now I only have 19 subscribers. I had 5,400 impressions on the video about Biden's Inflation Reduction Act. Either that or the student loans. Both of them were well up there. Almost nothing the last few weeks as it's gotten, especially on anything firearm related, and I don't anticipate anything on this. So Homeland Security was right in there with it. They have their own Facebook portal. In the Intercept article, there's a link to it. That was still active, where they could request stuff to be taken down. And so according to the Intercept, they were, it's pretty clear they were trying to use social media to convince everybody of what was true. And so if you had a contradictory narrative or one that was a dissenting opinion, they would try to suppress it, take it down, even if it was true and could be backed up. For instance, and I don't know if this was one of them, but when the Biden administration got caught with the whole crack pipe issue with the safe smoking kits, I shared a Tim Pool video and they immediately, fairly quickly, declared it false information. So then everyone showed their fact checkers what was what by, going to organizations that did safe smoking kits and showing that a little glass pipe was part of it, which was intended for smoking crack. Made themselves look like idiots. And you have to wonder how this affected people and pages, because obviously I don't even have 300 friends on my Facebook friends list. I generally only friend people that I have met. In the past, I have, or had some reason to expect to meet. I am primary admin for Skagit County Republicans, or had been up until at least a couple years now, and I'm kind of an admin. I started the page. So maybe that, some of the stuff that was getting suppressed or dinged on me was because of that. And some of the things that made, and some of the suppression stuff was exactly why I decided to start a channel. But Zuckerberg likely lied, we now know, about the Hunter Biden laptop scandal. When the FBI said, you need to be watching out for Russian disinformation, they probably asked him to take it down. This is a weaponized and politicized Department of Homeland Security and FBI. And there were people that said if they'd known about the Hunter Biden laptop and known that it actually existed, they would have voted differently. Some of their fact checkers, some of the stuff that they said was false, I went back in and looked and said, there's nothing false to it. I had a article somebody else had posted because I didn't care for Trump, rather than hamstring the party, because I am a PCO, I said, let's add somebody that was more conciliatory than me. Then I could just concentrate my efforts to elect other Republicans and let somebody else concentrate on Trump. The chair has always had the ability to post, and most of the postings this year have been the chair, except for a few things. I mostly just patrol for profanity. And if you ever got told you were warning you for profanity, that was me. But somebody posted a article listing off everything Kamala Harris had ever done against the Second Amendment, and it made the opinion that she would devastate the Second Amendment or gut it or something to that effect. And they call it false because of the headline, but then said because she had uttered the words, I support the Second Amendment. Well, they dinged it, it's called it false. And so things that were not reflecting well on Biden were getting taken down in 2020. And some of this had activity going back to 2020. Twitter's trust and safety head that got fired by Elon Musk, is listed in these documents, and particularly in one of the ones that I have included the link to directly, as being in these meetings. And one of the people in one of these meetings was actually Tiffany Smiley, our former Secretary of State, who wanted to go work for Biden instead of, worrying about Washington. So, that's what was going on here. And they actually talk about in their, about suppressing dissenting voices about things people are talking about, speculating on COVID origins or medical information related to things that you might put in your body, either treatments or preventatives. Racial justice, the Afghanistan withdrawal, which is pretty recent. Even aid to Ukraine. They want, and you have to wonder what any of that has to do with foreign influence in elections. It's supposed to be a foreign influence in elections team trying to stop disinformation. So it's very clear that they are trying to weaponize private actors in the role of a government actor. And that is a direct strike against the First Amendment. The text that's been referenced by a lot of other YouTube talkers was, at first it said it was between, people thought, I heard people talking, I think they were trying to read, it was so new, they were trying to get it out there so fast, they were talking, at first at DHS and Twitter, it was actually between Jen Easterly, who is Biden's appointed director at the CISA, and a guy named Matthew Masterson, who's a former CISA employee, now representing Microsoft, talks about how platforms need to get comfortable with government. One thing you have to understand is that fascist regimes do this. They always accuse the right of being fascist, but Italy, they want corporations working tightly with the government, where the government was telling them what you would produce, what you will say, what you will do, how much money you will make, how much you will pay your employees. It's just that the only difference between that and outright socialism was that whose name was on the title. It was the same thing in Germany in the 30s and 40s. The Junkers Aircraft Company was taken from its founder because he was a pacifist when he wouldn't build bombers for the regime. Okay, it was nationalized. There was other businesses, including the steel industry, some of the chemical companies were nationalized, and they pay the owners, but then they usually tell the owners you have to stay under house arrest for the duration in order to take control of them. And so they're trying to team up with tech giants to suppress dissent. And honestly, I've seen my own stuff to suppress. I started this channel in order to be able to appeal when somebody said that's false. Because if you're just sharing something that you didn't create, you can't appeal it. And one of the many things, and some of it I think is very algorithmic. So they're not like watching Pat. No, they don't got time for me. But they might have time for a Steven Crowder, somebody with hundreds of thousands or even a couple million viewers. One of the ones but they dinged me probably using an algorithm because it was just in minutes. A friend posted a meme showing, oh, we spend all of this on the military, nothing on healthcare. And I immediately I added up what I thought off the top of my head we spent on Medicare and Medicaid, and it was already almost 1.5 times what we spend on the military. And then I went and decided to double check it, so I went and Google searched it. Oh, Congressional Budget Office. Oh, I underestimated how much we spent on healthcare. Didn't include S-chip and another healthcare program, so I added them all up, and it was almost double what we spend on healthcare. Post that in a second comment with a screenshot with a link to the Congressional Budget Office. It was called misleading. I've seen so much of that. I cannot believe, you can't tell me that Facebook ain't involved in it. You can't tell me that there's not algorithms that go, oh, conservative opinion, dinging this. Because a lot of posts get shared by hundreds of thousands or millions of people. And so, how far down does this go? Is it just the major ones, or is it finding little ones here and there? And they're calling stuff that's provably true. I mean, I've gone to sites like Congressional Budget Office to fact checkers, and sometimes blown them up, found out they're wrong. And of course, usually they don't want to listen to me. But I'm a nobody. Let's be honest about that. And then it talks about in there how they don't want it to look like propaganda, and they want to find third-party actors, maybe like non-profit clearinghouses, probably ones they agree with. I got news for you: when it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And when it looks like propaganda, it sounds like propaganda, it's propaganda. And so they're essentially trying to create or operate as a ministry of truth. And so you got to wonder how far down this goes. As far as how it filtered down through the algorithms, because it had to have on some levels when things got declared misleading in just minutes or a couple of hours for somebody down at my level of the food chain, especially at that time. So get this out there. This is up there with Watergate. Some people have already said that, and I can't see how it's not. And don't tell me about how concerned you are about threats to our democracy when they're doing this kind of crap. But this is also a perfect example because Trump signed a bill in 2018 that helped to create this problem, that just because it's okay for you to have this power, or you think this power sounds good when it's used in certain ways, that it can't be abused or it's not going to end up in the hands of your worst enemy. So there is a little kernel of truth. Some of it belongs in Trump's ballpark. But there's a lot of people that probably bought onto this because, hey, we need to stop this, but it also got used for this other thing over here. And this should be very disturbing. Everyone's up in arms. Oh, well, Elon Musk, one guy controlling Twitter. You think it's okay for the government to control the flow of information? That's a sure sign of a totalitarian situation. So take that for what you will. Get this out to other people that you know. And until another time, you all take care.